95.9 FM, WATD, the South Shore's Morning News continues. I'm Rob Hacklaw along with Beth Foster. And also Dr. John Hayes is in the house. Dr. John Hayes, for a better experience at the doctor's office, try Dr. John Hayes' new, highly personalized and affordable direct primary care practice. It's located in Marshfield. You can find out more at drjohnhayesjr.com. Dr. John Hayes. Great to have you in the house, Doctor. Good morning.
Good morning, Rob. Good morning, Beth. Great to be back.
Happy to see you.
Yes, same here.
Another week, another great topic. All right, so we are going to talk this week about the highest energy daily habits for adults.
Yeah, and so this is, we've touched on this before, and it has a lot of common links to previous weeks, but one of the biggest issues that we see, not only in primary care, but virtually everywhere in society, is it just kind of like this expectation as we get older, we have to lose energy, and we do lose energy, and so on and so forth. But a lot of it is preservable by our daily habits. And I thought today would be a really good time to just try to review this stuff and emphasize a little bit, and then any questions for anybody that they have, they can, of course, text in or, email us later, call us later. That'd be great.
That'd be great, yeah. 781-837-4900 is the text line, 781-837-4900. If you have any specific question for the doctor, we'll try to get to it. All right, so explain this, because you talk about, as you said, you're right, when you get older, we say, I'm feeling tired, my energy is gone, I'm feeling sluggish.
Right, but there are a lot of things we can actually do as we mature, especially, and even at many ages, because it's not these issues are not just limited to older people. We see it now in younger people more than ever, and a lot of it, again, comes back to lifestyle habits and so on. But the biggest thing is prioritizing sleep. We've spoken about the importance before about, minimizing screen time, especially later in the day, getting the first light sun exposure, and then try to get some midday sun exposure too. These, especially the first morning light sun exposure, goes such a long way towards normalizing hormone levels and getting the day started and so on. And then right behind that is hydration. One of the biggest things we're not doing is hydrating with water well enough. The issue is right now in society, whether it be in our shopping world or online especially, there's so many different distractions and so many rabbit holes that you can go down to very easily. And the marketing's really good, so it's really easy to get sucked in. Mm-hmm. But the bottom line is we need water, good quality water, filtered water, preferably in glass or, stainless steel bottle, that type of thing. And really just emphasize hydration carefully. But the other point I want to make is it's very, very important not to overhydrate. This winter, I've seen a couple cases of what's called hyponatremia, or low sodium levels, from people overhydrating when they get sick, especially.
It was so dry this winter, too. I found myself being so thirsty all the time.
Exactly. So you've got to be careful. So I think one of the best things to do is, number one is, you've got to have a good physician on your side. You should have annual labs. Make sure you don't have kidney dysfunction. Make sure you don't have cardiac issues you aren't aware of, and so on and so forth. But given that you've done all that and you've taken care of all that, the biggest thing is with hydration to start early in the day. If you have coffee in the morning or tea in the morning, have some water just after it. Or, and starting early in the day ties back to so many different things, but it helps mental alertness, it helps energy levels, it helps to keep inflammation at bay, and we can sleep better because we're not getting up to go to the bathroom multiple times.
Correct.
So you start earlier in the day, you can end earlier in your day, no matter what your work cycle is.
Absolutely. I find myself thirsty as soon as I get up, and then also I feel like the water entering my system right in early in the morning helps to wake my body up, and then it's also a more natural wake up than caffeine or coffee.
Yeah, and it does make a big difference. Once you get in that habit, you'll be amazed what it is. And conversely, if you miss it, you'll notice that too.
Wow. All right. Stay high. I'm surprised, though. I know that you would have people that would be overhydrated. I thought it was very hard to almost do that.
You know what? Unfortunately, it's not, because, we're taught that, when you're sick, when you're ill, you need to stay hydrated.
Drink plenty of fluids.
Yeah, drink plenty of fluids. However, you can overhydrate. There is one thing to help minimize
How do you know?
Well, again, without laboratory tests, don't, but I have had people that have actually collapsed at home because they've overhydrated and they've been hyponatremic.
Well, I went hiking on the Appalachian Trail when I was younger, about 20 miles, and they said don't overdrink your water because then it can actually thin out your blood like alcohol does, and you have the same kind of symptoms as you would as being under the influence. You feel dizzy. Really? You could slur your speech, and so I think that's so interesting. So if somebody's sick, I'm just thinking out loud. If somebody's sick and they're overhydrating, would you say maybe to have like a Gatorade or a Pedialyte in between because that has sodium in it?
Well, the American Academy of Family Practice says, and I agree, is that the best electrolyte replacement for adults and children is apple juice, 50% cut with water, and I will add a tiny little bit of salt to it too. Because the apple juice and water give you some potassium for sure, trace amounts of other minerals, but not really that much sodium. But you don't want to, get too much salt in there. But a little bit of salt does go a long way.
Interesting.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. It's safer. It's safer, and it's good to use, year round. Mm-hmm. So that's something we highly recommend, and patients that do that really find it very, very helpful.
That's very smart, actually. Yeah. And apple juice is delicious.
So we recommend exactly.
Can you use apple cider, the New England apple cider?
You probably can. I mean, we recommend organic apple juice wherever you can get it, unsweetened, that type of thing. It does make a big difference.
Okay, gotcha.
Something to keep on hand.
All right. What up next, doctor?
Yeah, nutrient-dense foods. So the problem is, and again, no matter how much we talk about this, I still see people coming in into the practice. They don't feel in the morning, so what are they having? Just carbohydrates. No healthy fats, no protein, and then they wonder why they can't stay awake or they're crashing by 10 o'clock. It's something you really, really have to watch. And so nutrient-dense foods would be having some protein in the morning, whether it's plant-based or, if you do eggs, that's fine, if that's your choice. But, having some protein in the morning along with healthy fats. Yeah, healthy fats go a long way towards slowing absorption and keeping our energy level high. And the healthiest fats, like we've talked about before, is for later in the day, especially salads, vegetables, etc., extra virgin olive oil. Early in the day, nut butters are key. You can kind of take a middle-of-the-road approach if you want to use like a coconut butter or coconut oil, especially. Gives some healthy fat, can make a big difference in slowing absorption and maintaining your blood sugar at a more even level. There's a principle called slow carbing for a really good snack for people in the morning or a quick breakfast is have a half an apple with a tablespoon of almond butter or cashew butter on it. You'd be amazed how good you feel.
Totally.
And you could continue to hydrate. You can also having foods with more fiber. Like having a half a banana or half an orange. Excuse me.
Right, fruit is the main fiber thing.
Yeah, exactly. It does go a long way. And you start your day off like that, you generally have more energy and you feel much better. But so it's a balancing act. You've got to stay hydrated and you've got to make sure you've got healthy fat. If you don't have healthy fat with what you're eating, you're not going to feel well.
All right. So nutrient-dense foods. And then also you talked about exercise, right? Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing, without belaboring the point here, guys, is that we've talked about this before, is it all adds up at the end of the day. I mean, 5 minutes every, hour or so at the end of the day, what does that bring you?
Yeah.
It can be a lot. Yeah. It can be a lot. It doesn't have to be crazy, but getting up and moving, do some outside whenever you can, it all adds up.
No, it's so true. My friend does, a little bit of sets in between her work meetings, and she'll be able to do like increments of 7 minutes.
Yep.
And then by the end of the day, that adds up to a pretty decent workout.
It does add up to a decent workout. And the other thing that ties into hydration, nutrient-dense foods, and so on is we now know that relatively shorter periods of exercise may actually be more beneficial not only to the heart, but also helping to manage blood sugar levels.
Oh, that's great to know. All right. So, again, put in some regular time and don't worry so much at the beginning about the length and feeling like you have to, because as you said, a little bit adds up. And if you do a little bit every day, you can make some time and probably you will do more once you start that way.
You will.
Yeah. Okay. Well, doctor, I'd like to exercise more and eat better, but I'm just so stressed.
This is a big one. And right now, I would have to say the biggest thing is social media, hands down. And media in general, except for WATD.
Except for WATD, of course.
Except, of course. You know what I mean? It's the world is just insane. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah.
So
especially not good to digest it before you're resting and going to sleep.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, use it as a tool, like we all do, to communicate and educate and that type of thing, but not a weapon. I mean, the stuff we're seeing now, it's just horrible.
Tools tool, not a weapon.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make a difference which side of the fence, if you're on a fence or on either side of a fence you're on. It's crazy everywhere. Be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Set up boundaries if you need to.
You just
Unfollow
have to.
accounts if you need to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Block people, unfollow
You can take
accounts.
those breaks. A lot of people I do see do more seems
Social
like
media
these-
breaks.
Yeah,
they-
absolutely.
Sometimes they announce it, sometimes they don't. But
Yep.
I've seen people say, I'm going to go away for a little bit.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, because it's not healthy.
you know.
It's just not.
You could just follow Sesame Street and Dr. John Hayes,
Well,
and
you
you'll
could-
live in the happiest little healthy land.
We're trying to keep you happy. I don't know if it's good as Sesame Street, but we're trying to keep you happy and healthy.
No, definitely. Your social media is great.
Thank
It
you.
definitely makes
Yeah.
me happy,
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Try to keep it that
Very
way.
positive. All right, Doctor, do we have any one final thing to get in that you wanted to touch upon?
Yeah, so in addition to breaks, be careful of caffeine and sugar. The most powerful thing about caffeine is it can stimulate our metabolism, it can wake us up and so on, but by the same token, there's a tipping point. Go a little bit over, and you could be hypoglycemic, meaning low blood sugar. You can get the shakes. You can feel really, really ugly and nasty. So be careful with the caffeine, especially when you have it with sugar.
I have a question because they say that caffeine usually helps with headaches, but sometimes, because I'm prone to headaches, sometimes I feel like maybe I drink so much caffeine that I get a headache.
Exactly. It's
Okay.
the dose-response relationship, which is so common with so many things.
Dose-response relationship.
Yeah, so like the right amount of almost anything is beneficial.
Right.
Too much is not good.
Okay, gotcha.
That's pretty simple.
It can trigger it.
Yeah, for so many things. Medications, foods, water, you name
'cause
it.
I've seen some medical pills that are sold that have caffeine in them. Right? And I always wonder why they...
Yeah, Excedrin. I mean, it's the most useful
Excedrin and
headache.
aspirin is one of the long-term migraine medications.
Right.
It still works very, very well.
Definitely does.
But just be careful.
But you have to...
Yeah.
Yeah, if you just max out on it, you're going to trigger something that could be easily triggered.
Right, and you could. Well, I mean, caffeine can lead to a whole host of other problems too. Not the least of which is palpitations and heart strain and so on. So just be careful.
You know what? This is really unfortunate, but I always try to reduce my caffeine on the weekend, and I find myself, because I drink so much coffee during the week for this position, that I need to have a little bit of caffeine on the weekends. So I'm full on addicted at this point.
But the other thing too is just like water consumption too. If you break it down smaller amounts, makes a difference too.
Yeah,
and shut it off earlier. Many hours before your bedtime.
I know.
Whatever that might be.
I know you were talking about those the caffeine and the heart palpitations. I know we don't have time probably to get into longer, but I've heard about that they have more of these drinks that come in the cans or whatever, that some of that can be just way too much.
Well,
because people, I think, just are, I'll just keep chugging it down.
I do love the Celsius drinks.
Yeah,
Is there danger there?
There's a huge danger
Totally.
because you can have caffeine-induced SVT, supraventricular tachycardia, it's called, that can last for hours.
I mean, Panera
Hours and
got sued
hours.
for their energy drink.
You have to be extremely careful. Extremely careful.
Someone with a current heart condition was the person that passed away from the Panera charged lemonade. And the combination of a pre-existing condition, which most of America has.
Yeah, just be careful. Be careful. But that's a great topic. We should actually spend some time on that.
What's the number of the maximum caffeine again? It's 250?
It's highly variable because everybody's different. Keep it on the lower side. 50 to 100 maybe at the start of your day, and just work from there, but go easy and shut it off earlier in the day.
Yeah.
And then I take a B12 when I want to shut off the caffeine, because then the B12 can keep my energy levels up if I need a pep for the afternoon.
It can help, absolutely.
That's been my system.
It's working.
Placebo effect if it's not real.
Yeah. Well, Dr. John Hayes, always great stuff, great topics to get into, and you give us so much to think about every week, and we really like it. And you can read more in the blog, drjohnhayesjr.com, drjohnhayesjr.com, and his practice is located in Marshfield. The number to text or chat, 781-659-7989, 781-659-7989. There you go, right? I got
awesome. You got it.
9.
Dr. John Hayes, he's with us every week at this time on WATD. Thank you, Doctor.
Thanks,
Thank you, Rob.
Doctor.
Thank you, Beth.